John here. Electricians need to know. Electricians need to know how to handle emergencies. They have to know their own facilities. Now, I was a contractor for a while. I had many facilities because we did maintenance and repair at a lot of the restaurants and a lot of small industrial companies and commercial companies. So when you take on a company like that, you need to go into that company, find out a few things about that company so you can support them. If you're their electrician, you're going to be required to know where things are. It's just a fact of life. They look to you when the lights go out, even though it may be power and light that's doing it. So your facilities need to be examined. You need to know their emergency lighting system. You need to know how it functions. You need to know if it's on generator, backup battery, transfer switch, or what have you. So that needs to be tested. Every year at least, go into that facility, turn off all the power, turn on all the emergency systems, and check them. Now, I managed a large company. We had a problem because the buildings were built at different times. The technologies were different eras. The contractors that built the buildings had different responsibilities as far as what they wanted in a building and what the local authorities wanted in a building. So it was a hodgepodge of batteries and generators and transfer switches, and nothing was documented all together. It was all documented separately. So I got all the team together. I kicked out all the security and everyone else in the facility. And fortunately, it was a secured facility. It was Disneyland in Anaheim. And we kicked everyone out, and we turned off all the power. All the generators kicked on and started doing their function. Now, before we did that, we went around and we tagged each fixture that we knew of with a green little tag. Actually it was a dot, a green dot. And if it was on generator or battery, or if it was a fixture that was supposed to light that we knew of, it had a green dot, and we went to the end of that fixture and put a dot on it. Okay, that was before we started. Then when we turned off all the power, we had a very large team, and we'd go around to each building and go into each building and check to see if the generator had kicked on, to see if the transfer switches had transferred, to see what worked and what didn't, whether or not the battery systems lasted 30 minutes or not, or lasted their prerequisite time, to see if the batteries were good and the system worked. Well, we documented it. We put blue dots for light fixtures. Let's see, I wrote down some notes. Green dots was on energy management. Yellow dots was on battery, if they were on a battery system. And blue dots that it worked okay, and red dots that it didn't work okay. So we documented the whole thing. And at the end of the night, we had gathered enough information to fill a book. So we found that a couple of transfer switches out of about 25 or so didn't transfer. A couple of battery systems failed to fire off and light lights. Several battery systems failed because it didn't reach their goal of 15 minutes, I think, at that time. So we found that we had a lot of work to do to make the system whole. So this is what we called Park Dark. That's just what we called the system down there. Now, it was very important to document all of it and get it all lined up and put some money behind it so we could fix all these things and get them all together. Now, it taught us a lot. that one night gave us a really good insight of what would happen if we had to go through an evacuation with 50,000 people, and what was going to work, what was going to not work, what kind of failures we could have had, and it was a nice learning curve. So you need to do this with all your facilities, whether you use a DOT system or another system, or you just, if it's a small enough building, you can describe it and document what worked, what doesn't work, how long it worked, and whether or not it needs to be replaced, repaired, or just replacement of batteries or something like that. So it's a quick and easy thing to do if you have a small building. If it's a bunch of buildings, then it takes a little more time. But your customer will thank you for it. I actually charged my customers for doing it. I didn't charge them very much. I told them that it was an idea that I wanted to check their critical loads, things like that, and see what the requirements were, and put together some kind of attack force on repairing items and things like that. So I hope this gives you an idea what you need to do. Thanks. Bye.